An index is a list of words or phrases and associated pointers to where useful material relating to that heading can be found in a document. In a traditional back-of-the-book index, the headings will include names of people, places and events, and concepts selected by a person as being relevant and of interest to a possible reader of the book. The pointers are typically page numbers, paragraph numbers or section numbers. In a library catalog, the words are authors, titles, subject headings, etc., and the pointers are call numbers. Internet search engines, such as Google, and full-text searching help provide access to information but are not as selective as an index, as they provide non-relevant links, and may miss relevant information if it is not phrased in exactly the way they expect. Earliest examples in English. In the English language, indexes have been referred to as early as 1593, as can be seen from lines in Christopher Marlowe's Hero and Leander of that year. Therefore, even as an index to a book, so to his mind was young Leander's look. A similar reference to indexes is in Shakespeare's lines from Troilus and Cressida, written 9 years later, and in such indexes, although small pricks to their subsequent volumes, there is seen the baby figure of the giant mass of things to come at large. But according to G. Norman Knight, at that period, as often as not, by an index to a book was meant what we should now call a table of contents. Among the first indexes in the modern sense, a euro to a book in the English language was one in Plutarch's Parallel Lives, in Sir Thomas North's 1595 translation. A section entitled An Alphabetical Table of the Most Material Contents of the Whole Book may be found in Henry Scoble's Acts and Ordinances of Parliament of 1658. This section comes after an index of the general titles comprised in the ensuing table. Both of these indexes predate the index to Alexander Cruden's Concordance, which is erroneously held to be the earliest index found in an English book. Terminology: indexes v. indices. G. Norman Knight quotes Shakespeare's lines from Troilus and Cressida and says, "But the real importance of this passage is that it establishes for all time the correct literary plural. We can leave the Latin form indices to the mathematicians." The term indexes is used throughout the publishing industry, including in the international standard ISO 999, Information and Documentation, Guidelines for the Content, Organization and Presentation of Indexes. Indexing process. Conventional indexing: the indexer reads through the text, identifying indexable concepts. The indexer creates index headings to represent those concepts, which are phrased such that they can be found when in alphabetical order. These headings and their associated locators are entered into specialist indexing software which handles the formatting of the index and facilitates the editing phase. The index is then edited to impose consistency throughout the index. Indexers must analyze the text to enable presentation of concepts and ideas in the index that may not be named within the text. The index is intended to help the reader, researcher, or information professional, rather than the author, find information, so the professional indexer must act as a liaison between the text and its ultimate user. Indexing is often done by freelancers hired by authors, publishers or book packagers. Some publishers and database companies employ indexers. There are several dedicated, indexing software programs available to assist with the special sorting and copying needs involved in index preparation. The most widely known include Syndex, Markrex and SkyIndex. Textract is a hybrid semi-automatic program combining conventional manual indexing with automated indexing features and text linking. Embedded indexing involves including the index headings in the midst of the text itself, but surrounded by codes so that they are not normally displayed. A usable index is then generated automatically from the embedded text using the position of the embedded headings to determine the locators. Thus, when the pagination is changed, the index can be regenerated with the new locators. LaTeX documents support embedded indexes primarily through the MakeIndex package. Several widely used XML DTDs, including DocBook and TEI, have elements that allow index creation directly in the XML files. Most word processing software, such as StarWriter, OpenOffice.org Writer, Microsoft Word, and WordPerfect, as well as some desktop publishing software, as well as other tools, have some facility for embedded indexing as well. Textract supports embedded indexing of Microsoft Word documents. An embedded index requires more time to create than a conventional static index. However, an embedded index can save time in the long run when the material is updated or repaginated. This is because, with a static index, if even a few pages change, the entire index must be recreated, while with an embedded index, only the pages that changed need updating or indexing. Purpose: indexes are designed to help the reader find information quickly and easily. A complete and truly useful index is not simply a list of the words and phrases used in a publication, but an organized map of its contents, including cross-references, grouping of like concepts, and other useful intellectual analysis. Sample back of the book index excerpt, Sage, 41-42. See also Herbs are directing the reader to related terms, Scarlet Sages. See Salvia caccini redirecting the reader to term used in the text, Shade Plants a grouping term, Hosta, 93 a sub-entries, Myrtle, 46, Solomon Seal, 14. Sunflower, 47 a regular entry. In books, indexes are usually placed near the end. They complement the table of contents by enabling access to information by specific subject, whereas contents listings enable access through broad divisions of the text arranged in the order they occur. It has been remarked that, while at first glance the driest part of the book, on closer inspection the index may provide both interest and amusement from time to time. Index quality: some principles of good indexing include ensuring each topic section includes a variety of relevant index entries. Use 2 or 3 entries per topic, understanding the audience and understand what kind of index entries they're likely to look for. Use the same form throughout, using standard indexing conventions, indexing pitfalls, significant topics with no index entries at all, indexing mere mentions, but John Major was no Winston Churchill. Indexed under Churchill, Winston, circular cross-references, Felidae. See Cats. See Felidae, references to discussions of a single topic scattered among several main headings, Cats, 50-62 Felidae, 175-183, inconsistently indexing similar topics, confusing similar names, Henry V of England, Henri V of France, incorrect alphabetization, I plus or minus linolenic acid under A instead of L, inappropriate inversions, processors, word-for-word processors, inappropriate subheadings, processors, food, 213-6. Word, 33-7, computer indexing from section headings, for example. Getting to know your printer under G, indexer roles. Some indexes specialize in specific formats, such as scholarly books, microforms, web indexing, search engine indexing, database indexing, and periodical indexing. Some indexers with expertise in controlled vocabularies also work as taxonomists and ontologists. Some indexers specialize in particular subject areas, such as anthropology, business, computers, economics, education, government documents, history, law, mathematics, medicine, psychology, and technology. An indexer can be found for any subject. References in popular culture. In the Library of Babel, a short story by Jorge Luis Borges, there is an index of indexes that catalogues all of the books in the library, which contains all possible books. Kurt Vonnegut's novel Cat's Cradle includes a character who is a professional indexer and believes that indexing is a thing that only the most amateurish author undertakes to do for his own book. She claims to be able to read an author's character through the index he created for his own history text, and warns the narrator, an author, never index your own book. Vladimir Nabokov's novel Pale Fire includes a parody of an index, reflecting the insanity of the narrator. Mark Danielewski's novel House of Leaves contains an exhaustive 200-page index of words in the novel, including even large listings for inconsequential words such as the, and in, standards, ISO 999-1996 guidelines for the content, organization, and presentation of indexes, societies, American Society for Indexing, Australian and New Zealand Society of Indexers, British Record Society, China Society of Indexers, Indexing Society of Canada, Netherlands Indexers Network, Society of Indexers. See also, back of the book index, concordance, indexing and abstracting service, subject indexing, web indexing, references. Further reading, Booth, Pat. Indexing, The Manual of Good Practice, ISBN 3-536-11536-9, Balco, Harold and Bernier, Charles L. Indexing Concepts and Methods, ISBN 0-12-118660-1, Brown, Glenda and Jeremy, John, The Indexing Companion, ISBN 978-0-521-68988-5, Mulvaney, Nancy. Indexing Books, 2nd ed. ISBN 0-226-55276-4, Smith, Sherry and Kells, Kari. Inside Indexing, The Decision-Making Process, ISBN 0-9771035-0-1, Stauber, Dumi. Facing the Text, Content and Structure in Book Indexing, ISBN 0-9748345-0-5, Wellish, Hans. Indexing from A to Z, 2nd ed. ISBN 0-8242-0807-2, External links, The Indexer, Consideration in Indexing Online Documents, Usability Studies for Indexes, Reflections on Authorship and Indexing, The Definite Article, Acknowledging the In-Index Entries, Glenda Brown, The Indexer, Volume 22, No. 3, April 2001, ppA 119-22. The Role of Indexing in Technical Communication, Indexing FAQ Intro, Author-Created Indexes, Should authors index their own books?